Hello and welcome to another episode of Beer Man's No Bull Beer Reviews. Today I have another beer from Cinderlands Brewing Company out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. This one is actually a collaboration with two other companies. It is a collaboration with Allegheny City Brewing Company, which is also out of Pittsburgh, which I have not done a review for yet. And Binley Hardware Company, which apparently is in Pittsburgh. I've never heard of that. So I don't know, other than them saying that they're collaborating. I can't imagine the hardware store really had much input in this beer, but who knows. But this beer is called Ever Satisfactory. You can see right there it's a pale ale. It is 5.8 ABV. It is hopped with Centennial and Cashmere. The grains are two-row and oat malt, and the yeast is their house Kvik yeast. So I'm excited to crack this open. I've been a fan of all the hoppy stuff I've had from them, so we'll see. There's a lot of carbonation there. This was actually released when I was up in Pittsburgh in the middle of July, so I bought the cans, but I tried other stuff on tap that they didn't have cans of, so I didn't actually try this yet. So pretty excited. You can see, of course, a pretty hazy, darker golden color. It's almost like muddy looking. It almost has a little bit of a green tint to it, which like really light, super hop beers usually have that. About 2 fingers worth of really fluffy white head. It's interesting. It almost smells like a hoppy American Pilsner. It's very very orangey, but also a little like skunky, if that makes sense. Which it's kind of weird coming from a can, but who knows. It's a little floral, like almost like smelling like if you took a flower and just take a big smell out of it. It's I'm getting like some lemon juice in there too. Some like a little lime and definitely some like crackery malt too, which is, I think, is another reason why why it makes me think of a Pilsner. Man, that's tasty. Wow. That's really tasty. It's odd. Like it's not super hoppy, but it's very, very clean, and it almost has like this tiny bit of acidic note to it. Like not like that it's sour, but it seems like it might have been made with a little bit of acidulated malt almost. Yeah, that lime character is really big, and I was getting lime out of. I did a review of a single hop Cashmere beer a little bit ago, and I was getting lime out of that too. So maybe that's something that comes from Cashmere. That's interesting. I can't say that I've had a ton of Cashmere beers. I'm not really getting too much that I would generally say with Centennial. I guess that little bit of a floral, flowery aroma. That's usually something that I would peg as being Centennial, because I think like to me, Two Hearted is a quintessential Centennial beer. It's all Centennial hopped, or Centennial IPA from Founders, one of those two. They're single hopped Centennial beers, but they do a really good job getting the most out of those hops if you could find it fresh. So I do get that in the floral, but I think it's the cashmere that's really driving this. It's very, it is still a little orangey. It almost smells like if you took orange juice, but then like cut it with 1/3 lime juice or something. And I think that little bit of acidity that I'm getting out of it is making me think even more of lime. But the body on this thing is so light. I'm honestly surprised it's even 5.8. I would guess that this was sub 5. Like it's not watery, but it's just very, very light and easy to drink. The beer itself has like a substantial body, but it's really light at the same time. Like I guess a good example of that be like some saisons that are 4 point whatever percent. They have a pretty substantial body and heavy carbonation, but they're also really light at the same time, and this is kind of reminding me of that. It's pretty pillowy too. These guys are really doing some good stuff, and not only is it really good, it's most of their IPAs are very different from the other ones. Now I had a triple IPA from them the other night. And of course, triple IPA versus pale ale is very different. I understand that the alcohol percentage is 5-6% different, but even just the hop, if you strip away that and the alcohol, the hop profile was just so different from what this is. It's not even close. I think these guys understand balance, and when you start loading IPAs with so much hops, they all start tasting the same because you just get that like green, grassy, earthy plant material taste, and none of their stuff's like that. They all really get the essence of the hops that are in it, and I appreciate that a lot. And that skunky character I was getting the aroma is it's just there like a tiny bit, but it's blending really well with like the Pilsner malt base. I don't know, honestly, this is one of the most complex hoppy beers that I've had in a long time that didn't have anything in it besides, hops and a normal malt base or whatever. I think part of it's from that Kvik yeast, too. I know they like to use that for everything. I'm not a big fan of that yeast. I think it's weird, and it gives, like, a house character, which I don't like. I mean, with these guys, it's okay because it's minimal, and I don't think it's necessarily a negative thing, but I don't think breweries should really have a house character other than maybe like a mixed culture yeast, because to me, different types of yeast go with different types of beers, and they should have their own flavor profile. Like I said, the sour thing is one thing, but if all your clean beers have a house taste, that's usually not necessarily a good thing. Theirs have that, but it's so minor that it honestly doesn't bother me. But I know a lot of places that have done hoppy beers with that Kvik yeast, and it just has not worked. I know it ferments really clean, and it like never stalls out. That's what I've heard about it, and it can get up to really high ABV. So it's almost like a super yeast, but I just don't think that it necessarily accentuates hoppy beers that well. But this somehow is really, really good. So maybe they've figured out a way to massage it, to do what they want to do with it. And once, I'm sure, it was from that original strain, but when breweries start making it a house yeast and they do what they do with it, it doesn't end up being the exact strain that you're going to get from a homebrew shop or whatever, so it's still its own thing. But it's probably pretty obvious by what I've been saying about this, but this is definitely a buy for me. And I think this was like $14 a 4-pack, which is absolutely a steal. I mean, granted, it's a pale ale, but I don't really care about the alcohol. I just care about the quality of the beer, and this thing is awesome. I would drink a lot of this if I could get it locally in volume at that price. This is a really good beer. Not to say that there's not really good hoppy beer here, but most hoppy beer here is not this low in alcohol. Resident Culture just did a pale ale. High Branch does some here or there, but most of them are usually higher in alcohol. So I really appreciate a nice hoppy beer that's lower in alcohol. And this is definitely one of them. So this is a buy for me for sure. And I'm definitely going to tell some of my friends in Pittsburgh who might have passed this up to give this a try. This is really nice stuff. I think that's all I got in this one. Please like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. And I look forward to doing the next one. Thanks.